Greetings gamers, welcome to part 40 of my Let's Play Fire Emblem 10 Radiant Dawn, and in today's episode I have much to do about finishing this chapter, including telling you about a hidden coin in this little spot right here that I don't really intend on getting, but I might as well tell you about it since I've been doing that lately anyhow. Yes, you know what? Can you? No. Oh my gosh. You know, I actually take it back. I don't think this guy is the best shover or smiter. Wait, why in the world can't he smite her? The target's weight may not exceed this unit by more than 2. His weight is 34, her weight is 25. Why can't he smite her? Very strange. Either way, I'm going to heal up Ike and allow him to get a little bit more experience points while I move the rest of my units down as well, because the fact of the matter is that all of them need some good old experience points. Especially Shinon. Is there a possible way I can take this guy down to low enough health? Yes. As long as Titania does not KO here, that is. And I'll put her right there. Shinon can take you out. Alright, so that was a pretty decent amount of experience points he got for, I mean, considering his level. That is the problem with your units. Once they get to high enough level, tier 2 and the start of tier 3, they're basically impossible to give decent experience points to in part 3. That's okay though, because obviously my goal is to get all of these units up to 3rd tier. So it's not like I'm not accomplishing my task by having that specific issue. I just don't understand why he cannot smite. Very weird. But that is my turn. Yeah, I don't think your crossbow is going to do much to a heavily defensive unit. Ooh, 20 damage. Impressive. Would have actually KO'd if he got a crit. I wonder if he had critical hit percentages on Ike. Or not Ike, Har at that moment. That would have been very interesting. Not great, though. Alright. No, he had no possible way of critting. And, one of you is going to need to get taken out by Har. I'll use the last use of that hammer, since it did have enough might to KO. And Ike can KO you. Wow, he has a critical hit percentage on Ike. That's not exactly good. Alright, heal up Har with good old Mist and her wonderful Men's Staff. And then now, okay, doesn't have a crit. I don't think he did in the first place. I think that was just a hit percentage. Doesn't particularly matter, I don't really care. I'm doing what I can do and getting it done. Alright, so you here. 15 times 2. And you are gone. Good job, Shinon. I gave him Daunt. I suppose that would be a great thing to keep on or with him, as he does pretty well benefit from it, I think. So I have a little bit of a strategy here that I almost always use when I play this particular chapter. And that is to have a ranged unit be able to attack these guys from this space. Yes, gonna use the steel bow. Definitely need better bows for Shinon, though I think this will be somewhat alleviated when he promotes, which will be darn soon. Oh, come on. Why would you do that? Got in my way so that I can't even attack him with... well, attack with Shinon. Well, I can attack Septimus with Shinon, but he's not going to do much damage. Bows are not that strong a weapon. But... so, one thing I definitely want to do, and I mean definitely, is I want to KO you. Get you out of the way. As I have no desire to necessarily deal with these units being healed up. I would just want them to be KO'd as soon as possible, because really, I'm going to get the only goal that I have in this chapter, which is to get Shinon promoted. Which is going to be nice. Once he's promoted, he's going to have quite a bit better stats and the like. I can put you here. Would be nice if he crit, but yeah, I didn't think he would. Would have been nice, but definitely not necessarily going to happen in that moment. And Ike destroying yet another general. Ike doesn't need the experience points as bad as Shinon, because I would love to have a promoted Shinon, whereas Ike cannot promote for quite some time. So, with that in mind, it's just honestly better to focus on my other units, whom do need the experience points because they all can promote, and get the benefits of being promoted. The only thing I'd have to do was carry the dead bodies back as proof. It's just my luck the enemy is alive and well. Why does this always happen to me? Well, Septimus, it's because you're a bad man. Wow, Titania got a level up from that. Nice. And a very good level up from that. Very nice. Thankfully, he went and attacked Titania instead of just standing in front of Shinon again, which I thought was kind of very stupid. And that is a class change mid-chapter. Not very often you see this, especially because most of the Fire Emblem franchise, you need an item to promote, whereas the Teleus games, you don't. And that is the outstanding promotion of Shinon from Sniper to Marksman. Look at those stats. It's incredible. 25 base strength right now. Amazing. 26 base defense, 20 base resistance, 28 speed, 32 skill. This guy is a beast. One thing that Marksmans do get that does not show up in the stat screen is that they also get to attack from one extra range. So it's basically like they have a longbow at all times. It does reduce their hit percentages, but that's okay. One more general bites the dust. Alright, so now that Shinon is actually promoted, which is fantastic, I don't really have to worry particularly anymore about giving just him experience points. And because of the way this chapter is going, it would just be better all in all for me to hurry up and get the rest of my units over here so that I can finish off this chapter. So, Shinon, Marksman, The ultimate archers, whose skills are said to be goddess granted, they wield the skill Deadeye. So, yes, this guy is incredible. He is the true leader of the Grail Mercenaries. And an S rank in bow, I can't wait till he has double S rank. He actually has the space. I think he might actually have the space to have... Yeah, he does have the space to have something like Adept instead of this Daunt, which is pretty cool. Deadeye can multiply damage by 3 times and put the enemy to sleep. And also critical plus 15 now, which is pretty insane. That's literally half a killing weapon that he has at all times. I love marksmen. They might not be great, at least not for the most part, because they are at least at minimum 2 range units. But there are ways to alleviate that somewhat. Crossbows, though not fantastic, can help that a little bit. But what really salvages them is late game. And you're going to see what I mean. Alright. I'm going to shift, or Golger for both of you. You are gone. And then Titania can take out Septimus. Alright. I think that's perfectly fine. I knew it. I knew it. I would end up like this. Poor guy. Gave a pretty decent amount of experience points to good old Titania, though. Gotta say, gotta admit that. I really wish that Ranoff was able to shove or smite miss there, because she would be able to be closer to all of the enemies over the next couple of turns rather than further. Alright, so next turn, obviously, I'm going to be able to complete this chapter. Yeah, Provoke is still working its wonders. I'm really not surprised he missed there. Shinon, once he becomes a marksman, is quite the beastly unit, because I don't think I've ever had a Shinon that didn't have at least these stats upon promotion, ever. Because the fact of the matter is he almost always, I want to say, caps his skill, speed, defense, resistance, and sometimes strength. He even capped his HP, which is just darn good. This unit is too good. I do love the dark magic in the Tellius games, specifically Radiant Dawn, because it doesn't exist in Path of Radiance. However, my serious issue with it is that this game, and I think I've mentioned this before, but because of the fact that your units all have to come back from Path of Radiance into Tellius's sequel, which is Radiant Dawn, you have things that are just, in my humble opinion, a bit egregious. And that is that they couldn't really make too many new characters, and because of this, you do not get, and you just don't, you do not get another, or you don't get a dark magic user until pretty much the end game. And I just really don't like that. I think it's such a miss, because the dark magic users are a lot of fun. I was not expecting Mist to KO there, but, you know, hilariously enough, she decided that she was going to anyway. Ike, Ranoff, this way. I found a way out. Excellent, let's get out of here. You don't have to tell me twice. Yes, we did it. We made it through the caves. Looks like we finally lost the Begnian army as well. We can finally rest a bit.
I thought we were finished. I thought my rashness had killed us, but we've lived to see our land again. Hey, Scrimmer, has all the heat gone to that shaggy head of yours? Look around. Is this Gallia? What? No, we can't be in. You, by whose authority have you entered this land?
Goldoa, the land of the dragons. By the blanker, did we mess up?
The dragons? It is said they are the most powerful of all the Laguz tribes. I've always wanted to fight a dragon, but I never expected it would happen like this. When our king finds out about this, I will have much explaining to do. You've got to get home first, Scrimmer. I guess we have to pay that stubborn old lizard a visit, don't we? Let's go.
Castle Goldoa. Coolest looking castle, I think, in this entire continent.
And there you have it. We never intended to violate Goldoa's borders. It was an accident. I see. I understand your predicament. However, your reasons neither justify nor change the fact that you trespassed on our territory. I order you to leave immediately. Go back the way you came, through the caves. You would have us go through Kauku caves again? Never!
Stop talking, Scrimmer.
Many of my men are wounded. You're sending them to their deaths. I will not allow this. It is regrettable, yes. However, I cannot make exceptions. Your men will leave, now.
How could a Laguz be so cold to his brothers? We are your people as well.
This isn't news, Scrimmer. Goldoa and its lizards have ignored the suffering of their Laguz brothers for centuries. They even looked the other way while we birds and beasts were enslaved by Bjork. Isn't that so, Dragon King?
Yes, it is so, but actually, hilariously enough, and I do want to interject here, as I so love to do, since this is my Let's Play, the Laguz enslaved the Bjork first.
Our country is neutral. It has been since time out of mind, and will continue to be so.
Then you might as well just kill us now. It'd be the same as sending us back to the Kauku caves. It saves us the walk. I don't like how disrespectful all these people are being to the great Black Dragon King of Goldoa, the oldest living being in all of Tellius, one of the strongest also.
You are a Bjork. I would not expect your short-lived kind to understand.
I don't need to understand to see that it's a poor king who has so little regard for his fellow living creatures. Wrong. He has plenty of regard for his own kingdom. No regard for you because you are not of his kingdom. He doesn't have to have regard for you. You don't have regard for him. In fact, you're disregarding and disrespecting him.
Your Majesty, please hear our plea.
What are you two doing here?
Please allow my grandfather and me to guide the Laguz Alliance to the borders of Gallia. I beg of you.
Prince Rayson of the Huron tribe stands among these men. The Dragon tribe owes him safe passage. Please, Your Majesty, he saved the soul of your son. Would you condemn them to die, but despite the good they've done? Do as you like. This is the only exception I will ever make.
Thank you, Your Majesty.
Well, here you are. I think you know the way from here.
Thanks, Nazar. You really saved us back there.
It's the least we could do, and I will pay you. Pray for your safety.
And Ike just walks away like, I'm done with this. I love Tellius. Please do not get me wrong. I know there's going to be people who do get me wrong. I just don't really like Ike's attitude. He was written very wrong, in my humble opinion. All right.
Goldoa, the land of dragons, lies secluded in the southwestern corner of Tellius. No foreigner, Laguz or Bjork, is permitted within its borders. The Alliance emerges from the lava tubes and into Goldoa by accident. The Dragon King, Deginsia, is displeased by this trespass. However, Ike's former companions, Nasir and Ina, appeal to Deginsia to allow the passage of the Laguz Alliance. Raisin's actions during the last war earn them the grudging respect of King Degencia, who allows them safe passage. Meanwhile, Benyan calls off its pursuit of the Alliance and finds its passage into Gallia blocked by the nation's great mountains and deep forests. The Central Army's momentum breaks upon these obstacles like an ocean wave against solid rock. Senator Valtome arrives to take command of the Central Army. He orders Zelgius to march on to Gallia by way of Crimea. Observing diplomatic protocol, Valtome petitions the Queen for passage, as well as supplies and additional troops. Queen Alincia, however, goes against the wishes of the Crimean nobles and resolutely denies each of Valtome's requests. Her reply enrages Valtome, who sees Crimea as little more than a vassal of the Empire. Ignoring Zelgius's counsel, Valtome orders his army to enter Crimea and take whatever they need from the villages along the way.
Chapter 9, Marauders. Castle Crimea. Your Majesty, the Bagnian army has crossed the border. They are seizing food and supplies and calling it tribute to the Empire. There are no casualties yet, but they are acting like bandits.
I see. So they simply ignored me. What shall I tell the troops? Your Majesty. Order the Royal Knights to mobilize, ride out and advise Begnion to withdraw. If they do not comply, I approve the use of force to remove them from our lands.
But Your Majesty, this is the Bagnian army we are talking about. It would be unwise to provoke them.
I had hoped to avoid this situation, but the Empire's attempts to strong-arm our people shall not go unanswered. Deploying the Royal Knights is the only way to protect our borders from incursion. See, this is the only time, I think, in all of Tellius where I humbly agree and respect Alincia in her ruling of Crimea, because the fact of the matter is this is exactly how I would do things. Now, maybe not exactly, because I would, if I owned my own country, if I was the king of my own land, I would be much more like Degencia. He is a king to look up to. he is royalty. However, I remain open to suggestions. Do you have an alternate plan of action, Lord Saron?
No, please forgive my impertinence, Your Majesty. This is quite all right.
I'm glad we are in agreement, Lord Saron. This whole situation disturbs me greatly. I wonder, what is happening to the Empire? I doubt that the Apostle would allow this sort of thing to happen. We should prepare for the worst. I fear something horrible must be happening within Begnion.
And you are right. Quite right. Info. Hey, did you hear? The Imperial Army has requested Crimea's assistance. Yeah, I heard. I also heard that the messenger treated our queen with no respect at all. Who do they think they are?
Shh! Not so loud. Begnion is ruled by the Apostle. They helped us one day and invaded. It's only right that we pay back the favor by coming to their aid.
But Begnion is fighting the Beast Tribes of Gallia. Why would we fight Gallia? The Beast Tribes helped us rebuild Crimea. That's true, but come on, think about it. Who would you rather side with, the land of Bjork or the land of Lake Goose? The answer is as plain as day. We side with the Bjork. You have a point. I choose Gallia over Begnion.
Really?
But why? The people of Gallia helped us rebuild the village, even though we're Bjork. They even repaired the road to the farm that's up on the mountain. That wasn't an easy job either.
Yes, I remember. What was his name? Mordecai? He was strong, yet very kind. He looked frightening at first, but the children in the village loved to play with him. He was a wonderful man.
If the Queen decides to answer Begnion's request for troops, we'd have to fight Gallia. How terrible would that be?
That's war, isn't it?
Yes, I suppose that it is at that.
I wish we didn't have to fight anyone at all.
That's a cute wish, but fighting is sometimes necessary to protect the innocent, to defend your lands, and to keep evil from encroaching upon the good. That is the whole point of the government.
It's been one thing after another. First, the civil unrest, then the imperial invasion. I'm so sick of hearing about it all. You and me both. I figured I'd be able to get in some me time now that Crimea is peaceful again. Get a card game started or something.
You're a royal knight. If the queen decides you should go sweep away 10 or 100 imperial soldiers, you should probably go to it.
Yeah, we've been ordered to mobilize, and I can't think of any excuse to get out of it. Maybe I could pretend to be dead.
Any ideas, Amy?
Don't make General Joffrey mad. You're a royal knight. You better follow his orders.
Amy, you're supposed to help me. She's obviously been spending way too much time with you, Khalil. Well, of course, you twit. All right, Makalov, it's time for you to pay up and go.
What?
But I think my stomach's acting funny.
That's enough, you layabout.
Oh, hi, Masha. Don't surprise me like that.
Makalov, I knew I'd find you here, you slacker. You're making the whole squad wait for you. Hurry up and head back.
I don't know about all this. Fighting the Imperial Army means fighting my old comrades. I don't want to fight my old friends. You know what I mean? I think I see.
You owe them money, don't you? Isn't that the real reason why you don't want to see them? Cheese breath?
Well, when did you learn to read minds, like the Hurons?
I can't, you spineless sea cucumber. It's just so typical of you that I guessed. Marcia, please, that's quite enough. But Astrid, it's despicable. Look at how calm Sir Makalov is. He never gets irritated or upset. It's the mark of a true knight. A good knight must know how to keep his cool on the battlefield. But we're in a bar.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I hope to be as good a knight as Sir Makalov someday. How I dream of that day. I don't believe this.
You don't want to end up like me, baby.
Oh, I completely agree. Who'd want to end up like a clown-haired chowderhead? The love you two have for each other, so wonderful. I wish I had a sibling.
Sure.
I'll sell him to you. Cheap.
Oh my gosh. That's so funny.
Jeffrey, please take this with you.
Why? This is a master crown. I am honored, Your Majesty. I will cherish it.
I have been asking you to fight difficult battles against terrible odds.
Your Majesty, allow me to reiterate. That is exactly what I wish. No matter the task and no matter the odds, I can only succeed at it as long as you depend on me. I am yours entirely, Your Majesty.
I shall take those words to heart, Geoffrey of Delbray. You are truly my finest and most faithful knight.
Thank you, Your Majesty. Master Crown, I know exactly who I'm giving that to as well.
Here are the war funds. Remember, Geoffrey, you will face the Imperial Army. Should there be a conflict, you must not be caught unprepared.
I shall be prepared, Lucia. 10,000 gold, I appreciate that. Yeah, no supports for these guys. I don't think it's possible to support any of them, even remotely, before Part 4. This is your only Part 3 chapter, if you can believe it. It's kind of insane. With that being said, however, I do have quite a bit of inventory management to deal with. I will be right back. And I am back. Quite a bit of things have been changed about my units. First of all, Geoffrey did not get another Brave Lance, so I think that is a bit debunked. Maybe he has to have all his weapons unequipped, but being honest with you, I don't think it's worth it because Geoffrey has to fight that whole chapter and do what he needs to do in the most previous chapters, I should say, to the best of your abilities, because you need them. Now, I've taken all the skills off of all of my units, except for Danved. He has received Paragon and Gamble. I'm going to be leveling him up. I've also given him the Master Crown. I'm going to use that as soon as I can, but seeing his stats, he definitely needs some good levels. So this might not be something I use until he is actually level 20. Just to save some experience points for that purpose. But it doesn't matter, I'm going to keep it on him so that he can save those experience points. They decide to give him Killer Lance, which will be great with Gamble, because Gamble itself may not be a great skill, but it can be useful at times. You want to be very well prepared for this chapter. Usually, if I'm not using any of
this party, I give the Master Seal or Master Crown to Jeffrey so that he can promote to 3rd tier, so I can just blow through this chapter, because it's honestly in my humble opinion, a non-important chapter, and this is a non-important part. When it comes to the bargain, you do have some interesting stuff, like for instance an Arm Scroll, a Reaper card, a Daemon card, which is, I believe, the 2nd most powerful. It might be the 1st most powerful cards. I'm not entirely sure. It might be the 1st. You also have a Shine Barrier, but one thing that I did purchase here that is not here, because obviously I purchased it, is the wonderful Adept Scroll. It's cost 6,000, but to have an extra Adept is nice. Now granted, I don't have it on Danved because he can't equip it alongside Paragon, and he needs Paragon in order to get as much experience points as possible from this upcoming chapter. But I'm going to tell you, if you do not want to wait a billion years to get the items off of Jeffrey and skills or whatever, you're going to want to take them now, because he is, I think, the latest rejoin in part 4. And remember, this is the only chapter in part 3 that the Royal Knights take part in, so keep that in mind. But with that being said, I want to thank you for joining me. If you like my content, please upvote and follow, or like and subscribe depending on your platform. And while you're at it, have a great and glorious day gaming.